Would you guys think I forgot about you? I didn't. I did not. We're back. Welcome back. Meet and greet. It's your favorite barbecue nephew, brother, friend, counterpart, peer. Today, for the 20th video. The 20th video of the meet and greet community. We are barbecuing no other than the beef Dino rib. Insert epic music. Yeah, man, we're doing Dino ribs, and I'm stoked. It took me 20 videos to get here, but we're here. So sit back, crack a cold one, do whatever it is that you do to settle in and watch some barbecue magic. I'm super excited. Excited's not even the right word. I'm stoked. I'm stoked to cook these. I've noticed that some people say this is the best bite in barbecue. Now, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's the best bite. I think the best bite in barbecue is your next bite of barbecue. So I don't know if this is the king. What I will say is a beef Dino rib, a plate rib, whatever you want to call this thing. This is arguably one of the easiest cuts of beef to cook low and slow on a pit. It's almost fail-proof. It is almost as easy as cooking a pork butt. If you watch my pork butt video I did a few videos back, you know that I said the pork butt is arguably the easiest fail-proof cut of barbecue. This would be a close second. So anyways, my point is it's really hard to mess this up. Don't be scared, don't be worried. I'm gonna walk you through the whole thing and let's just jump right into it. So, I mean, we all know if there's anything hanging off the sides like this, we want it gone because it's going to burn. And I feel like no one really explains, like when people say cut off sharp edges and round them off because they burn, no one really explains why. And let me take three seconds to tell you why it's very important to cut this little tiny piece of meat off the side. If you envision a sponge, a dry sponge, and you take a bowl of water. If you envision this as a dry sponge. Envision my hand as a bowl of water. If you put the dry sponge in the water, what happens? The sponge absorbs the water. Likewise, if you get a sharp edge on a piece of beef, more specifically, all barbecue, but really beef, brisket, beef ribs, etc. If this gets burnt because you didn't cut it off, this piece of meat now dries out. And what ends up happening, this dry piece of meat starts to absorb the surrounding moisture and it will literally dry out an entire section of your beef. So if you ever hear anyone say, cut off the edges so they don't burn, it's actually important that you do that. So we knocked off the edges. We really don't have to do anything fancy. I mean, I'm just gonna knock this off to prove a point. This looks done, trimmed. Look how easy that was. Turn it over, make sure that this membrane doesn't have any lingering fat, which this one does. It's very important you do not remove the membrane on a beef rib. You keep that on. Why do you keep it on? Well, one, it's incredibly difficult to actually remove this. It does not pull like pork. Second, that membrane on the bottom is actually what's gonna hold this thing together, because we're gonna take this, I take my beef ribs all the way out to 205 plus. I might even finish these at 210. We'll see what the meat's telling us when we get there. Okay, so we got it trimmed. We're leaving the fat on. Sometimes you will buy a plate of beef ribs and there will be gobs of fat. It's your call. I would advise that you maybe take some of it off if it's just a bunch, but you're the pit master, you're the cook. You know your pit, you know your smoker, you know its convection, you know your ability to render fat. I can't help you there, but what I can tell you is if your beef ribs look anything like this, maybe even a little bit more fat, you're good to go. We'll render it down in the pit. I'll show you how to do that. This rack specifically today, I'm gonna cook a little bit on the hotter side. I'm gonna roll them unwrapped pretty much the whole time. My goal for this is to lay an incredible bark on the outside. I'm gonna take that bark a little bit further than I would a brisket because I do something special at the end. I'll show you, and well, you'll just have to see. So anyways, time to season, time to lay the first foundations that are the bark, and we'll go from there. I have 4 items. 3 of which are spices, 3 of which will directly affect our bark later in the cook. I'm using Dale's. I don't always use Dale's. You could easily use mustard. You could use Worcestershire sauce. You could use a mixture or a combination of all of them. However, I love Dale's. Envision seasoning salt in liquid form with like some browning in there for the color. That's what Dale's is. It's like a soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce. I like it, so I'm using it. Here's a caveat. Very, very salty, very high sodium content. I use literally a capful, maybe less than that. Couple drippy drips. That's it. Not a lot, not a lot. Rub it in. Flip it over, hit the other side. Same story. Now we're gonna hit the bottom. First I'm going with pepper, then I'm going with salt, then I'm going with my brisket booster. Marcus, what's brisket booster? Maybe you'll find out. Maybe you won't, I don't know. If you wanted to use something like a brisket booster, Lowry's. You can use Lowry's. You can use a seasonal. You can use really whatever you want, guys. It's okay because it's barbecue and we make it up as we go. Okay, so pepper. On the bottom side, I really don't go super heavy. Salt. On the top side, very important. Put on your Picasso. Picasso's an artist, I think. Yeah, put on your Van Gogh hat because you want to make this as pretty as possible. Now, does it looking better make it taste better? No, not really, but it's barbecue, guys. You gotta love the look of your product. Here's my thought process behind seasoning the top. I go pepper first. I go very heavy, very liberal for me. I don't know what's heavy for you, but I go heavy for me. Kosher salt, I go heavy as well. Brisket booster, I go even heavier. Again, you don't have brisket booster, but if you grab a Lowry's, you'll be good to go. I go even heavier. I'm going for a very salty, very peppery, very thick, very barky, very, very, very everything. Because again, I do a little thing towards the end. I'll just show you then. Let's season. And if you're not getting your seasonings all over the table, you're not seasoning high enough. Kosher salt, heavy, right over the top. And that, my friends, is going to yield one of the craziest bites of barbecue that you have had. And oh my goodness, am I excited. I'm gonna let that sit for about 10 minutes. All I want is for that brisket booster, that salt to wick just a little bit of moisture. It's going to better settle into the surface of the meat. And then it's going right on the pit. I got another rack to season up. I'll bring you guys along the whole way. I'll see you at the pit. Well, friends, I'm gonna light a fire. I'm about to build my fire, and I've received a few comments that I wanted to address very briefly about cooking on my 500. I get it. I get that not everyone watching this video has a 500-gallon smoker, and I get that some people, the second they see me open the doors of a 500-gallon smoker, they're like, nope, next video, this isn't applicable. Guys, let me tell you, it is completely applicable. And it does not matter what smoking apparatus that I'm using, whether it's a Traeger, to a Oklahoma Joe, to a backyard mill scale, to a 1,000-gallon smoker, it's all the same. What's important today is I'm rolling at 300 degrees. If you have a backyard smoker, roll anywhere from 275-ish to 300-ish, you'll be A-okay, but you know your smoker. If you don't know it, learn your smoker. That's the whole beauty of barbecuing. Anyways, today, I'm about to get the ribs on the pit. We're going 300 degrees the entire time. I'm going to build my fire. It's going to start low and slow until I get my coal bed. And I am quickly going to jack my temperatures up to 300 degrees because I want to blast the fat cap. I want to render all that delicious fat on top. I want to set me a nice crunchy bark. And I'm excited. Follow along. It's a labor of love, my friends. Beef ribs, beef dino ribs. Oh, it's looking good, boys. It's cold in the Midwest. We're gonna get these on. Thickest part towards the fire. Woo! E-dog. And I'm just gonna put it in the middle of this rack. Again, we're talking about temperature, time, look, feel, smoking apparatus. Doesn't make a difference. It's all applicable. I'm gonna bring my pit up to 300 degrees. We'll check back here in about an hour or so. We'll take a peek, make sure temps are looking good, fire's looking good, but we're just gonna put these bad boys to sleep for a little bit. We'll see you back. Boy, do I love you guys. It's so cold in the Midwest that I don't know what. It's just cold, guys. It's cold. But hey, the barbecue doesn't stop. The smoke does not stop rolling. We're about an hour in, and for me, there's a saying, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. I don't know about that, because the first hour of a cook is arguably one of the most important hours of a cook, because it's going to tell you if your fire is too hot, not hot enough, if you have too much convection. I play around with my damper in that first hour to try to figure out, like, do I want it a quarter of the way closed? Do I want it halfway closed? So anyways, like, the first hour is important. So we're going to take a look at this. There's a few things that could be happening. The convection could just be too much, in which case the bark would start flaking off. The fat would start rendering too fast. It'd start bubbling. There could be a lot of things happening. When I open this, what I want to see is a little bit of moisture. I want to see the meat starting to get a little darker, a little bit more mahogany. The pepper's not going to be fully set on the inside, but it's going to be a little tough to flake off. That's what I hope. Let's see. That's what I'm talking about. This fire is moving a little too hot. It's okay. It's okay. But I'm setting my bark. I can flake this off if I want it to. I don't. It's starting to get really tight, like really tight. That means we're cooking. See that edge? That edge is starting to take a little bit of heat. Ideally, I would have cut that off. That's the second rack. I didn't even trim that because I don't care that much. Anyways, I'm gonna spritz this. I got equal parts apple cider vinegar and water, and I think I put a bush light in there, because why not? I'll keep that moist for another hour and a half or so, and I'll bring you guys back. If you're watching this video and you appreciate the fact that my freaking wife's out here freezing, if you appreciate the fact that we're out here smoking cigars, smoking barbecue, enjoying ourselves, give me a like, give me a comment. It's about 4.5 hours in, 4.5-ish hours, and now is when we start doing the thing I was talking about at the beginning that I saved to now, and it's very special, very high tech. Not really. We're gonna put some beef tallow on our dino ribs, and so a couple things. Let's open this up, let's take a look, and then I'll explain. All right, friends. Wow, those look extremely good. So we're starting to have some bark set, some color. I mean, it's really coming together. So now, guys, it's really important that I start to really render this fat and set this bark how I want to. And the way that I do it is I put beef tallow over it. So look, the best way to remove an eggshell out of your eggs is with an eggshell. The best way to cook bacon is in bacon fat. The best way to render beef fat is with beef fat. So I'm just going to douse my mop in this beautiful beef tallow, and I'm literally gonna paint this over my beef ribs. If you don't have beef tallow on hand, pro tip, go to your local store, butcher shop specifically, and ask them for some beef tallow. And they typically keep it back in the freezer, and they'll give you some. I bought, like, I don't know, I think 15 pounds of beef fat, and I bought it for like 10 bucks. And I rendered it down, and I keep it, and it's great. So I'm just going to mop this over my beef ribs like so. And I am going to check these beef ribs at this point every 30 to 45 minutes. And when they look dry, I'm just gonna mop them down. And I'm gonna do this to continue to render my fat and get it exactly where I want it. Again, we're rolling at 300 degrees, and at this temperature, it's going to start to solidify my bark and really start to crisp this up. Because what I do is I take it further than I want it, and then I soften up my bark in some foil. But just stay tuned, my friends. I'll show you. All right, this is mop number 1 of probably 3 to 5 mops, and we'll check back once these are exactly where I want them. If I tempt them, which I'm not a big temperature guy, I don't even have a, yes I do, not a big temperature guy, but if I tempt these, my guess, 160. Oh! Can you see that? 162. Come on, Big Frizz. 162. So we got another couple hours. It is 4 or 5 o'clock here in the Midwest in the winter time. The sun goes down pretty early. So this might be the last mop that you see us do, frankly, because we're losing sunlight. However, if you're doing this at home and you're following along, check them every 30 to 45 minutes. If they look dry, if they look like they've absorbed that beef tallow, hit them again. Hit them with the moppy mop again every 30 to 45 minutes. I'm gonna do that until they're done. I'll show you how I finish them, and then we're almost there. We're in the home stretch. At the 6-hour mark, I just wanted to come back out and check one more time with you guys. Right around here, we gotta be close. If I was gonna finish these dino ribs wrapped, I probably would have put them in either my butcher paper or foil about 45 minutes ago, somewhere around 175 to 180 degrees. My guess is that these are pushing somewhere close to 190, maybe even 195. Again, I'm just gonna run these all the way through unwrapped, but I wanted to bring you guys along just to show you what's the bark looking like, mopping it, so on and so forth. Oh my goodness, look at that bark, boys. It is perfect. Some of it's flaking off. That's just the nature of the beast. Some of it's flaking, and that's okay. But for the most part, we are rendering fat. It's getting that nice, crispy, crunchy thing that happens on top. Let's temp it out just so you guys can, a little sanity check. 172 there. We'll go middle right between the two bones. 180 on that guy. This one's probably hotter. Yeah, 186. 187, yeah, almost 190. And it's feeling good too. We probably got another hour or so. Oh yeah. All right, boys, we'll let it roll. Next time you see these, they will officially be off the pit. I'll show you how I finish them out, and then we eat them. Boy, am I happy. We made it. We made it. They're done. They're looking really good, and I want to explain a couple things. Okay, first, remember in the beginning of the video I told you that I take my bark way past done, meaning like I take my bark super duper crispy to the point where it just looks overdone. I take it there. And I take it there because when I bite a beef dino rib, I want that. Is that a thing? Can you understand? No, maybe not. I'll show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here's a beef dino. This guy's already fallen out. Boy, these are hot. These are fresh off the pit. Okay, right? Look at the bark. It's pretty crunchy. It's set in there. Most people would say, Marcus, you burnt the bark. No, I didn't. Because I'm going to soften the bark. How do I soften the bark? I use my good friend, Mr. Foil. Now here's what we do. Pretty easy. Lay it in some foil. We take the beef tallow that we rendered, okay? Now it's important you lay it in the foil membrane side down, and then we're gonna create a little cove, because I'm about to dump some beef tallow. And this is how we rehydrate the bark on the beef ribs. I know it looks like too much tallow, friends. Trust me, it's delicious. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There it is. We're gonna double wrap this, and we're gonna do a really light wrap. We don't wanna pack it down like pork ribs. We just wanna close it up just enough to allow that heat to start to pump out some moisture, to start to create a humid environment inside of our foil. And I'm just gonna rest them down to a temperature of ideally I'd rest them to 140 degrees. Frankly, we're hungry and I'm filming a video, so my guess is I'll rest them for about 30 minutes until my tongue can take the heat, and we're slicing and we're eating. You gotta be careful, there's a lot of tallow in here, there's a lot of liquid gold, and these bones are protruding. It's quite possible you could pop this foil. So once you get it nice and loosely packed like so, you just wanna do another layer. Final step, final tip, final thought. If you're eating these on a time horizon that I am, meaning your friends and family and your wife are rushing you, do not put these in a cooler. The cooler will slow the descent of temperature and it'll take longer to cool. If you are being rushed, you are on old Frisbee's time horizon, leave them out at ambient temperatures on a tabletop inside the foil and just let them rest like this. I'm not a big advocate for resting beef ribs for a very long time. I've rested brisket for upwards of 18 hours and turned out a beautiful product. These, it would be ill-advised to rest them any longer for 4, 6 maybe. I don't love doing it too long. So my point is, get it in the foil, leave it on the countertop, let it come down to anywhere between 140 to 100 and maybe 60 on the high end. Slice them, eat them. I'm gonna do that. Next time I see you guys, I will be sinking my teeth into these delicious beef dino ribs. I've let these beef ribs rest long enough. I don't know what, I have no idea what temperature, internal temp these are. I have no idea. However, what I do know is it's time to pop the foil open, pull the beef ribs out, slice them, eat them, and let you know my final thoughts. And I'll say this before I open them up. If these are dog, beep, if these are trash, if these are horrible, I'll tell you. If they are incredible, I will tell you. I will not sugarcoat the final product. Oh my gosh. Oh, buddy. Look, guys, I told you, when you rehydrate that bark, it goes from being crispy and borderline dry to just oozing with flavor. Look at that, guys. Enough talking. Let's just slice into this thing. When you slice a dino rib, if you slice it at an angle instead of vertical, slice at an angle, you can kind of get down in there at a good... Oh my goodness gracious. See how I went in there and then I'll go in this way versus vertical. Vertical helps you get under that bone. Oh, wowzer. Oh, buddy. Oh my goodness. Look at that. I mean, the fat cap, beautifully rendered. Look at that. When I press that fat cap, I mean, that is like, I'm applying no pressure. If I push through, that's just gonna give way on itself. Just pillowy fat. Then on top, because we took that crust further than we wanted and then brought it back to life in the foil, that bite is gonna have a nice little snap, little crisp crunch to it with this pillowy meat. Guys, I kid you not, I honestly, I would not overplay how ready I am to eat this, but I promise you, God is my witness, my mouth is watering. I think I just take a bite. All right, ready? 3, 2, my mouth is watering. 1, ah! What? Whoa. One more. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I need to wipe my mouth. I need a towel. Guys, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Every time I do these videos, I'm at a loss for words. The only thing that really I could conjure up is do it now. Do this now. Do this now. Your family deserves it. You deserve it. This is a delicious piece of barbecue. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, please. For the love of God, help the channel. Love you guys. Meet and greet, as always. Over and out.